can keep joining in. So hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this webinar. I'm really excited to welcome three very, very big and famous schools in the UK to our webinar today. So just as a starting, let me first introduce everybody to you. We have from Cheltenham Ladies College, which is an all-girls IB and A-level school. We have Mrs. Cool, who's the Director of Admissions over there. We then have Rachel Craven here, who's the Deputy Director of Admissions from Haileybury, which is again another, but it's a co-ed IB and A-level school. And finally, we have Mr. Giles Bell here, who's with us from Shrewsbury, which is a very well-known A-level school in Shrewsbury, actually. And I've had the pleasure of visiting it, and it is absolutely gorgeous. All three are gorgeous. I was just telling them it's so hard to visit schools and decide. So before I hand it over to our panelists, I'm just going to quickly introduce the red pen to you for a minute, and then we'll move on to letting the panelists take over. So the Red Pen is an independent education consulting firm, and we have been active for the last 11 years. It's very ably run by Namita Mehta and Kimberly Dixit, both of whom are extremely passionate about education. We actually service students, I would say, right from grade 7 to to postgrad or any educational dream that they have through 5 major service lines. The first one, and probably the youngest, is probably ourselves, which is the boarding school line. I'll come back to the boarding school line in a bit. We then have the early advising line, which works with students from class 8 to 11, helping them build profiles for college admissions. As you know, the US admission process needs a very stellar profile, so helping students with that. We then have the undergraduate line, which works with students worldwide, helping them get into undergrad schools. And then we have the MBA and the master's service lines, which obviously help with postgraduate admissions. The boarding school line actually is very close to our hearts, both Namita and mine, because Namita herself is an alum from Charterhouse, and my son went to boarding school. And so I've also had firsthand experience, and it's very, very close to our hearts. We are trying very hard over the last couple of years to grow this line, because we distinctly see the benefits of a boarding school experience, whether it is the UK, whether it is Switzerland, whether it is the US, Singapore, India, wherever. So we actually work with students across the world, for entries across the world into boarding schools at any age. We'll end up getting, like I said, the youngest students, simply because of the fact that we have kids going at the age of 5, 6, 7 at various stages. So that's a bit about us. I lead the boarding school line, and we have a very stellar team which has been working with students over the last couple of years, and would be really excited to work with all of you, anyone who's interested in going to boarding schools. I'm going to hand over now to Mrs. Cool to tell us a little bit about Cheltenham Ladies. And sorry, just before I do that, if anybody wants to ask any questions, please just put it in the chat box, and I'll definitely try and respond to them after we have presented the schools. Sorry, all yours.
Thank you very much, and hello and welcome to you all, and thank you for joining us, and thank you to Artie and to the Red Pen for hosting this event. So in a moment I'm going to share my screen, but I'll just say again who I am. I'm Charlotte Cool, Director of Admissions at Cheltenham Ladies College, and I'm just really pleased to have this opportunity to talk to you about CLC today. We've been welcoming Indian girls for many, many decades. And I'm really looking forward to actually coming to India in person to meet with prospective families and to reconnect with our alumni as well. But before I can do that, I hope today will give you a little flavour of CLC through this virtual presentation. So I'm hoping to share my screen successfully now and to show you am I sharing now? No, I think I'm not. Oops. Sorry about that. I'm going to come back to Zoom. Sorry, I had a nasty feeling this might happen, so bear with me a second while I get this right. Did you hear the music just then or not? No, didn't hear anything. Okay.
Do you want me to start with Rachel and come back to you?
I'm just getting there. Sorry.
Sorry, no worries.
Actually, no, that might be a good idea. Sorry.
Okay. So Rachel, why don't we start with you, and then we can come back.
Okay. All right. Let me share my screen right away and get going. Then, can you see that? Is that all okay? Perfect. Okay. Thank you so much, Artie, for the really kind invitation, inviting Haileybury to be a part of today. My name is Rachel Craven. I am the Deputy Director of Admissions at Haileybury. It's so wonderful to be with you today, and I'm excited to talk to you a little bit more about Haileybury. I have never been to India and hope to do so very, very soon. So let's kick off with the PowerPoint. So Haileybury is an independent co-educational boarding school located in 500 acres of beautiful Hertfordshire countryside for pupils aged 11 to 18. We are within half an hour of London and situated within easy reach of London Heathrow, Stansted and Luton airports, making travel to and from Haileybury very simple. With a rich history of internationalism and service, Haileybury was established in 1862 and counts among its alumni Prime Minister Clement Attlee, film director Christopher Nolan, England rugby player Jamie George, and England cricketer Sam Billings. We are predominantly a boarding school with 70% of our pupils being boarders. We have 6 girls' houses and 6 boys' houses with an exceptional pastoral care system. So I hope that the drone footage is working right now, and we've just gone through the centre of the school, the quad, and we're now heading through to our cricket pavilions here. And in front of you is Hayley Wood, which has a great purpose-built campfire setup where children can learn to cook things over campfire and have residential evenings outside in the summer. So I wanted to talk to you quite briefly, but go through the various curricula across the 7 years of study at Haileybury. The educational environment we offer is holistic. It balances academic achievement with the development of the human being, of the individual. Our lower school caters to pupils aged 11 and 12 and is often described as the soft landing into the Haileybury community. The year group sizes are purposefully quite small at this stage, with the tutor groups of roughly 10. There's the option to board weekly at this stage, to flexi-board and to be a day pupil. So heading then through to the middle school, the next entry point is at 13 plus into removes. So this is year 9. The pupils join the senior school at this point, commencing a programme of study, which allows them to choose a number of carefully curated pathways, preparing them for their GCSE courses. These pathways also allow them to specialise in some areas and subjects of particular interest. Many of our international pupils join us in year 10 in middles to begin their GCSE 2-year course. We also offer a 1-year pre-IB course that is specifically for international pupils wanting to go on to study the International Baccalaureate, or the IB. It's an accelerated GCSE course where pupils are part of a small cohort, usually between 15 and 20 pupils. They study 6 or 7 IGCSE courses, which include English, Maths and Science. They are tutored as a cohort, but join the main year 11 group for Maths and Science. As the name suggests, the course is specifically designed to prepare a pupil for the IB, and it attracts a really lovely variety of nationalities, and we're particularly seeing that the calibre of applicant is incredibly high at the moment. So then we go on to our 6th form, and that's our final entry point, which would be for year 12 to enter the 6th form, and at this stage we offer both the IB and A-levels. It's a huge advantage to be able to offer the IB diploma programme at Haileybury. We were one of the first schools in the UK to offer the programme, and as such, it's a very well embedded. It's very well embedded within our school's pedagogy and ethos. It's a hugely respected international qualification, opening doors for pupils looking to study at top universities, both in the UK and overseas. Known for its academic rigour and breadth, it is often believed that pupils who graduate with the IB are considered perhaps ahead of those without university admissions departments. We are an academically selective school. Applicants are required to sit a series of entrance assessments for entry into Haileybury. There's also the opportunity to be assessed for scholarships in academia, sport, music, drama, art, and DT. Time for some very quick statistics. I know we all love statistics. You'll see the breakdown of our 2021 A-level results here. Basically, the headline figure really is that we were 71% A star to A in 2021. For our IB stats, our average point score is 39, establishing the school as one of the leading UK IB schools. 3 of our pupils in 2021 were awarded 45 points, which is the maximum available score, placing them in the top 1% in the world. In addition here to the higher education figures you see at the bottom of the screen, we are seeing an increase, as Artie mentioned, in applications to US universities, and our sixth form team is really well equipped. We have a specialist US and international applications advisor, so they're really well equipped in supporting our pupils in their applications. We are one of 27 SAT centres in the UK, so that just helps the US application process, making it as easy and straightforward as we possibly can for the pupils. Boarding life at Haileybury is fun. It's diverse, it's creative. More than 2/3 of our pupils board at Haileybury, but day pupils can also reap the benefits of the pastoral care offered by our boarding team. And the boarding team encompasses our house parents, so our house masters, house mistresses, we have matrons, and we also have tutors as well. Some pupils go home after sport on Saturday afternoon. However, for those who want to stay on campus, weekends are fun and activity filled. Though if you'd prefer to relax, there's also the opportunity for a lie-in on a Sunday morning and a tasty brunch too. Each house offers a really nurturing, supportive and familial home from home environment, which is really important. We put our pupils' mental health and well-being right at the centre of our priorities. And this year we opened a new well-being centre, so a quiet space with a kitchen and a garden for pupils to take a break during the busyness of school life. It can be quite intense at times, or to simply just seek support when needed. So we do have counselling service available too. There are endless opportunities for pupils at Haileybury. The extensive co-curricular programme provides a great sense of breadth, but mostly like depth, where pupils are challenged and they gain great confidence and develop new skills by trying new activities. The range of activities at Haileybury perfectly complements the learning that goes on in the classroom and strengthens our ethos as an holistic education. The main sports for boys are rugby, football, hockey, and cricket. And for girls, it's lacrosse, hockey, netball, and cricket too. We've got a number of affiliations with prestigious sports clubs such as Saracens Rugby, Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, and the Marylebone Cricket Club. We also support other sporting interests, including badminton. We have a swimming pool. We have indoor tennis courts, so tennis can be played all year round. We have a rackets court, squash courts, and the children can play basketball and athletics as well. Our drama department put on 4 large productions each year. We often use the Hertford Theatre as a venue, and there are also plans in the pipeline to develop our on-site theatre and performance space. Our music department plays a key role in the school's life. We have 13 choirs, a symphony orchestra and chamber ensembles, right through to pop, rock and jazz groups. And something different, again, our annual Modern United Nations conference is one of the largest in the country. We recently hosted over 600 students for the MUN conference. So as the slide in front of you suggests, from climbing and to scuba diving to filmmaking and the MUN, with countless activities in between, there really is something for everyone at Haileybury. Finally, I just wanted to say that really the best way to gain a flavour of Haileybury is to come and visit us in person. We would be so delighted to welcome you. The best way is to contact our admissions department to arrange a family visit, which we have every day during term time, or book onto one of our open events. Should you not be able to join us in person, that's okay too. We also have virtual open days throughout the year. So thank you so much for your time, for listening, and again, Artie, for your kind invitation. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Rachel. If it's possible and you're ready for it, Charlotte, we can go with you.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'm getting there.
Don't worry.
There we go. Hopefully you can see that now.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Lovely. I'm going to start by just showing a very, very short video. Okay, so I started working here as a house mistress 14 years ago. And I remember when I applied for the job being struck by something that was written in the description of the school. And it describes CLC as a place where girls are encouraged to believe that anything is possible. And these three words, I think, still ring very true today in everything that I see here on a daily basis. And they really encapsulate the spirit that drives the girls to do amazing things here and in their lives beyond CLC. I think the all-girls environment is particularly empowering because it allows girls to do whatever they want to. So without boundaries, without limits, without fear of judgment. And the school does provide endless opportunities to participate in and to lead academic and co-curricular activities. The girls are always being encouraged to try new things, to make mistakes and to learn from those mistakes. So maybe just to sort of give you an illustration of some of the things that we offer. This, I thought, was the best way to do it, was to look back at last week's calendar. And these are all things that have literally happened since this time last week until today. So a week ago today, I was stood in a park in Cheltenham, about, I don't know, 100 meters from the front of college, where the Cheltenham Jazz Festival was taking place. And our girls were up on the stage, the jazz band performing to a huge public audience, and really relishing that experience of doing something as part of the town, but also as part of a nationally acclaimed celebration of jazz. So that was this time last week. And then since then, all these other things have taken place. You can see we've had various sporting events, cricket, tennis, athletics, external fixtures. We've also had our hotly competed house events, so house football, house rounders. And then there have been a series of lectures and talks. So we've had an external speaker coming in to talk about investing in a sustainable future. We had a very, very powerful talk from one of last year's leavers, a Ukrainian girl, well, young lady now, who came in to give a talk on war, culture, and self. So these were her reflections of the events of the past few months, sorry. You can see that girls have gone off-site to London for history of art residential trips, Latin and Greek reading competition. I mean, it goes on. And this literally is just a snapshot of last week. And as I'm talking now, I know we've got about 40 girls packing their rucksacks to head off for a Duke of Edinburgh walking expedition, and others who are heading off canoeing as well. So hopefully you can see from this list, this snapshot, that we don't specialize in one particular area, and there is certainly no one type of CLC girl. Everyone can find something she enjoys doing and feel inspired and motivated by those around her. And the girls really feed off each other's passions in this forum. And it's this continual exposure to these sorts of opportunities and the skills and the friendships that the girls develop whilst enjoying them, that really, it does enable them to become self-determining, resilient young women who go out into the world really ready to make a difference. A community service is a really important part of life at CLC. So I guess that's a sort of a thread running through their experience here that they do take beyond. So whilst at school, the girls are spending, well, thousands of hours between them collectively are devoted to activities from reading to the blind, helping out in primary schools, offering time in animal shelters, serving breakfast at the homeless centre in town. So lots and lots of opportunities to think beyond their own experience and to really contribute to the wider community. And that's very, very important to us. So academically, the girls are stretched and challenged by a very broad curriculum and teachers who are passionate about their subjects. We offer both the International Baccalaureate and A-Level, as Haileybury do, and this means that girls can have the choice, they can choose the programme that suits them best. Girls who join CLC love to learn, so whether they're doing A-Level or IB throughout the school, there really is this palpable energy that comes from the exchange of ideas, the sharing of different perspectives. And our pupils come from literally hundreds of different schools before they join us, and typically between 40 and 50 different countries. So we do have a long history of welcoming international boarders, and our strong pastoral care system ensures that each girl is known and valued as an individual. So she will belong to one of our 3 college divisions. You can see here that we have Lower College 1, which we call LC1, which I believe is your equivalent of grade 6, because it's our grade 7 in England. I hope I've got that right. LC2, LC3. So that's the Lower College division. Then we have UC4 and UC5, and then Sixth Form College, which is really where the transition, the preparation to university takes place, both pastorally and academically. So within her division, each girl will be looked after by an academic tutor who liaises closely with the house parent. And there are 6 junior boarding houses We have 3 junior day houses, 5 sixth form boarding houses, and 1 sixth form day house. So we are 20% day and 80% boarding. So, as I said, each house parent is supported by a team of pastoral staff, and together they make absolutely sure that the girls are cared for as if they were at home. So, what happens beyond? When they leave CLC, our pupils go on to study at a huge range of universities across the globe. Over the last 10 years, more than 1,300 students have graduated and have gone on to study at 200 different universities. So again, I thought a snapshot view would be helpful. This is some of the destinations of last year's leavers. So this doesn't include all the universities that they went to, and it doesn't include even all the courses at the universities I have shown. But I chose these because I think, again, it shows that sort of breadth. We are about girls, about the individuals, about them finding what is right for them. It's not a conveyor belt. CLC is not a conveyor belt of sending girls off to any particular universities. It's about them finding their right path. So as you can see here, we've got a huge range of subjects from astrophysics to dentistry, English and German law, environmental policy, all sorts of different things, which I think does really reflect the fact that we are a place where we support the individual. And of course, the graduates of today will be facing an ever-changing world, and it's unlikely that they will stick to one particular path. So everything we do at CLC is about helping the girls to develop the agility and the humour to navigate whatever lies ahead, and to step out in the world, as I say, ready to make a difference. So our approach to education is never just about the grades. It reaches far beyond what happens at school, and it's really important that our admissions process reflects this. So it is a holistic approach. We make sure that we meet all of our candidates and get to know what they're interested in. So for 11+ entry, we hold an assessment day in October the year before entry to college, and this happens in college or virtually. It involves team building tasks, group discussions, as well as a written English paper and an online maths test. And the process is the same for 13+ entry. So there will be the same focus on meeting the girls, hearing them within a group situation, hearing how they share their ideas, listen to others, reflect, and really share their opinions. So that is a very, very important part of the process. At sixth form, candidates will be required to submit an admissions essay, and then a virtual or in-person interview will be arranged. They then take their exams in November, the year prior to entry, and they will be examined in the subjects they wish to study, either at A-level or at IB. So at each point of entry, we're really looking for girls who want to get involved, who want to get engaged, and who are excited by the opportunities that are on offer here. So all I can say now is I'm really looking forward to meeting your girls. And I hope this has encouraged you to come and visit us, or to get in touch with us. And I look forward to meeting you in the future.
Thank you so much, Charlotte. Giles, would you like to take over?
Yes, hello everyone. Very nice to meet you all, and although in remote, thank you very much to Artie and Red Pen for inviting us here. And let's see if I can do this. Hang on a second. There we go. Yes, here we go. Well, I thought I'd start with a nice picture of the snow, because I'm imagining that it's hotter in India than where we are. Actually, it's not snowing today. I might hasten to add, but it does occasionally snow here. But of course, we can have days when I just rather like this picture. This picture shows the extent of the town and the link to the school. So this is the school here, the main school building here, and this obviously is the town. So we're quite close. And the good thing is there's a bridge here. I don't know if you can see my little arrow, but it means that your kids don't have to swim across the river. They can actually walk into town should they wish to go there, which is good. We do have a swimming pool, other than the river, which I don't think would be particularly clement. Although there's a very weird trend in Britain at the moment for cold water swimming, and so you do occasionally see people getting into the river at this time of year. But I just think those people are completely mad and clearly didn't go to a good school like Shrewsbury School. Anyway, there is, of course, the school when it's less snow around. This is a more summery look, and today is rather a nice day actually out there, and so it looks a bit more like that today. A few little tedious facts I'll give you. The school was founded by Edward VI in 1552. We have around 820 pupils. It's been co-educational since 2008. And there are 35% girls, and numbers are rising because we're building a new girls' house. So there's a new exciting girls' house being built, and it will be ready by 2023. And that will take the number of girls' houses to 5. Currently, there are 4. It's going to be called Queen Elizabeth House. We've just had that confirmed. And Queen Elizabeth herself came to visit the school in 1552, which I think was the first, sorry, not 1552. I know she's old, but she's not that old. So she came to visit us in 1952, and which I think was the first year of her reign. And so we thought it would be quite nice for her to have a house named after her. So Queen Elizabeth House is going to be starting soon. That will take the numbers of girls to around 42, 43%. And every year since 2008, the number of girls has been rising. And it's interesting. Some people would say, well, you're surely just a boys' school with girls. Well, that's certainly not the case. I would say we're fully co-educational. And the nice thing about it is that it's quite a strong boarding school in the sense that each house is very distinct. And that means the girls can go off to their girls' houses and be girls, and then they can come out to play and see the boys in the class and debating and things like that, and drama and the sports where they can mix, like rowing and fives, cricket. So there's plenty of what I call co-educational activity going on, but there's also that safe space where girls can be girls and boys can be boys in their own houses. So there are 7 boys' boarding houses, and there are 2 day boy houses. Okay, so we are 80% full boarders, very similar to CLC, and 20% day pupils, because we live in quite a nice town, and that has its impact on us. So the town is a good place to be. It's a lovely market town. And again, that means that the kids can get involved with groups. So for instance, I was running a Syrian refugee club in town, and our girls and boys were going to help with that on a Monday evening. They helped down at the Ark, which is the homeless centre. So it's not just, the idea is to make sure that the children have a vague idea of how lucky they are in life, and are able to develop some sort of social conscience and social cohesion with the town around them. I think that's really important. We also have links with a youth club in West Everton, which we've just raised £78,000 for, doing a sponsored walk. And children will go up to Liverpool, stay a couple of nights in Liverpool, in West Everton, and have a help at the youth club there. And every now and again, we get a girl or a boy who wants to go and volunteer there. So this year we had a couple of boys volunteering, and next year there's a couple of girls who are going to go and volunteer at the youth club for 6 months, sometimes a year, depending on what they want to do with their gap years. 25% of our international students, of whom we do get, I won't say we are overburdened with Indian students. We do have a few. I think we had recently we had Akshay and Twinkle Kumar's son Bhatia, who was very Arav Bhatia, who was very good at his drama, as you might imagine. And but we have had, I was a housemaster. I should tell you a little bit about myself, shouldn't I, really? I've been at Shrewsbury for 32 years. No one else will employ me. And I've been a housemaster, and I'm also a parent. I was a parent. I'm going to be a parent again, in the sense that my 13-year-old is starting next September, and I've got a 25-year-old who has been through the system. And I'll tell you a little bit more about him in a second. Basically, I won't bore you with statistics. We are good academically. We are selective, but we are not hugely selective. So I would call this a greenhouse, not a hothouse. You have to all our students have to get 55% at common entrance, and we're very good at adding value to some of those kids near the 55% range, but also, our top students will go to the top universities. So 20% of our upper sixth form leavers went to top 20 universities worldwide last year. And, speaking as an ex-housemaster, I can tell you that the rowing program, you can see how close we are to the river there, enabled certainly 4 or 5 of my students during my time as a housemaster to go to Harvard and places like that in America where they just love rowing. So if you have a son who likes rowing, that's great. Funnily enough, weirdly, the Americans are less keen on cricket, which just, I'm afraid, is probably something that they need to improve on, Anyway, let's just see. I've got lots of pictures. We'll zip through them, and I'll try not to spend too long. But this is just a musical one, partly because I was mentioning that I'm a parent. That is my son there, Joe, and I just like to highlight him as a success story, really. Obviously, he came from a troubled family background and he inherited very few talents. But he came to the school as a very gentle, quiet boy, not really knowing what he was good at. And he left, having done music tech at AS level. He went to UCL to do history, carried on his guitar, and he now thinks he's the next Ed Sheeran, and you can get him on Twitter. Spotify rather. Probably can get him on Twitter as well. But he's found his passion. He found music at Shrewsbury, and I think it was good for him. And academically, I was pleased with the way he developed as well. And he ended up getting a first from UCL in history. So I think he got that from his mother's side. So well done to her. But anyway, so there we go. And as you can see, lots of music and drama take place. This is the headmaster's very keen on this. I think headmasters are keen on these sort of things. I would hope that any school puts wisdom, kindness, courage, and that kind of thing at the center of their educational process. You'll find these little posters all over the school, trying to remind people that it's nice to be kind, show wisdom, be courageous, have a bit of spirit, work hard at things, and have some integrity. So I think these are good attitudes to have, which we try and give every Salopian. You'll notice down here it says inter si recte ne labora, which is the school motto, which means if right within, trouble not, which I rather like. I think it's a good way of expressing things. It's rather apt for digestion, perhaps, as well. But anyway, that's another story. We'll move on. This is a sort of brief glimpse of sort of academic things, and that's the library. This is a Model United Nations activity going on. We're keen on that. And this down here was a physics, a world physics competition that was hosted by Shrewsbury not that long ago. As you can imagine, one of our alumni is Darwin, and so science is quite big here. So there's plenty of biology going on. This is just a little pastoral scene. Again, the nurturing side of life is important. The boys down here are schoolhouse boys. I used to be housemaster of schoolhouse, and I used to say, wear schoolhouse on your heart. I used to try and embrace that, get them to embrace that sort of loyalty to each other, become a band of brothers, and then that confidence would spread out as they go into the community. So the house system is very, very important. But of course, they do, as they get older, especially, make friends from all around the school. So, but it's definitely a nurturing environment. This is a housemaster of Riggs, Mr. Barrett, enjoying some cup of coffee or whatever, a hot chocolate probably, with his third form, and that sort of thing is important. I always used to have the boys in their year groups if they had a birthday, because it was expensive in birthday cakes. But I think that we supported local bakeries very well. There we go. Here's the boathouse. Currently, it's Shrewsbury Regatta this morning. I meant to take a picture and send it. I've actually just tweeted something. If you want to go and find me on Twitter, you'll find pictures of Shrewsbury Regatta this morning. So this is our boathouse. It's one of the biggest in the country. It's very well equipped. And that's the school in the background, showing the nice rural area here where you can go and spot the odd badger or fox if you're interested. And that's the inside of the boathouse. So as you can see, it's very well equipped. And so rowing plays quite a big part in the school, both for boys and girls. There's a nice picture. I always feel that's rather nice. You can go and reflect about life in general on the river. There's also plenty of outdoor stuff, Duke of Edinburgh, things like that. And there's just a nice picture of our top common and the groundsman having a little chat before they work out which bit to mow next for a cricket match. We're good at cricket. This is our indoor centre, and we have a 4-lane indoor centre where lots of kids can play, and you can have a net any time of the year. So as a result, you have some quite good cricketers. There's Jimmy Taylor, who's now an England selector at the top, and this is a girls' net going on with Sapna and Uma, and here's the under-14s being trained by their coach. So it's all busy. The girls are very good. They just won the under 18 championships for 2020. 2020 cricket. Here's a little picture showing you of all sorts of things that they can get up to, and lots of smiling faces doing lots of things. There's one of my tutees showing me her 18th birthday invitation. Sadly, I didn't get an invite, which is probably just as well. And but there she is smiling away, and I just think that's a nice picture of showing that I think the staff and the pupils get on very well at Shrewsbury. It's a very welcoming place, and I just happen to like that picture. So there we go. Nice picture of the school. There we go. So it's a beautiful environment. Grounds are well kept, and that's a picture looking into the town. I think the town is really important, as I said earlier. It's really a beautiful place to be. We play fives, which is a very strange game, but we'll come back to that maybe. And I'm just showing you a few pictures of the school. That's the library, the chapel. Some hockey is played among many sports. That's Charles Darwin standing in front of Schoolhouse, and there's another boarding house there, boys one. That's Churchill's. And this is the Philip Sidney Memorial, the War Memorial, and that's the new drama centre, the new theatre development, which is very popular with the kids. There's a nice magnolia tree. This is the music school, so music's central to the school, and that's a nice picture of the town. A nice quiet sort of medievally looking street. Here we go. Here's a few more little what I call Shrewsbury nice pictures. That's the main school gates. A bit of football going on.
Sorry, as you show this, can I ask you to also just talk a little bit about the A-levels and just tell everybody what the A-levels are about?
Oh yes, sorry, yes, of course. The A-level. I'll finish off quickly. Here we go. Academically, we do A-levels, not IB. A-levels, we encourage most children to do three A-levels. And you can do 4, but 3 is good. And we do what's called an EPQ, which is an extended project as well, which a child can do whatever they want in. They can choose any project they want. I think the A-level studies work well for us. I know some people like the IB. I personally would have hated the IB just because I'm not very good at maths, and I very much liked focusing on English, history, and anything I could write with. So that suited me down to the ground, and I think that we will stick with A-levels at Shrewsbury at the moment. And we do a wide range of them. We've just introduced politics in the 6th form, and they will still take you to the best universities in the world, and American universities and other places around the world will take children with A-levels. So you do start studying in quite detail, in quite depth, and it does mean that at 16 you have to make decisions that if you're going to be a doctor, then don't do history, English, and philosophy of religion for A-level. You need to be doing your sciences, so you do need to make decisions a little bit earlier, perhaps. But I think that in a sense, it does prepare children well for university, and if they're going to go down those sort of routes anyway. So yeah, and
thanks so much. If possible, Charlotte, could you talk about the IB? I mean, in just listing of time, I want them to get the information about the boards and stuff before. Yeah, you're on mute, I think, Charlotte.
Sorry about that. Thank you. Yeah, IB. So obviously we offer both. I mean, if people were to ask what are the advantages of the IB, I'm sure Rachel might want to add to this as well. But I'd say there are sort of 4 that spring to mind immediately. The first one being the breadth, because it does enable girls who enjoy lots and lots of different subjects not to have to narrow down at that point, because they will be doing science, arts, languages, maths, so they can keep lots of doors open at that stage. Secondly, I think the global perspective is key. It encompasses different cultural viewpoints, and it really encourages students to be aware of the world around them. So obviously that's really helpful in propelling them forward later on. I think the focus on independent research skills is another real benefit in terms of preparing the girls for university. And then the interdisciplinary approach, which really, it challenges the girls to think of things, well, to think of look at the way in which they're learning in different subjects and to make connections, and then to think about learning in perhaps other subjects that they're not studying. And I think it's this interdisciplinary approach that's going to be really key for young people heading out into the world. You know, in terms of solving the world's problems, we're going to need people who have the skill to think creatively and think from different perspectives and understand different viewpoints across, you know, different approaches. So I think that interdisciplinary approach is really important. So yeah, I would say those four key advantages.
Great, thank you. So just to put into perspective for all the parents who don't know, so the IB really asks you to take 6 subjects where you do a compulsory English, a compulsory math, a compulsory foreign language, one sciences, at least one of the sciences, one subject which has got to be in the social science area, which means history, geography, philosophy, economics, and things like that. And then the last subject, which is the 6th one, can be either a performing arts, so it can be an art, a music, a drama, or it can be one more science or one more humanities. And you take 3 at a higher level, 3 at a lower level. So I think Charlotte has already focused on what the skill sets are, but I thought, let me just explain that to you. The A level, on the other hand, you take 3 to 4 subjects, and they are of your choice. As Giles very correctly pointed out, you know, depending on what you want to study further, you would choose your subjects that are needed, and you know, just study those that in depth. And then a lot of the schools will ask you to do the EPQ, which is an extended project. Rachel, if you can just take this a step further. Giles, if I can request you to stop sharing your screen so that they can see everyone. Thanks so much for that. That was just a complete, I agree, we could all get a really good picture of the school. So Rachel, if you could just quickly tell us, you know, as our parents really struggle with trying to decide between the two. You know, when you're applying, should you focus on school? Should I look at rankings? Should I look at only boards? And it's very confusing. If you can just help us demystify that a little bit.
Deciding between A level and IB, you think?
Yeah.
Well, I think ultimately, you know, you choose a school because it feels right, it's the right fit, and I think above all, that should be the first thing you look for. You know, we can. I think that the A level certainly appeals to a certain individual, and the IB appeals to a slightly different individual. I always say, a little bit like Giles, I would be an A level candidate 100%. My husband, however, enjoys that breadth. He didn't do the IB, but he wouldn't have wanted, if he had the option, he wouldn't have given up so many subjects. And that just having the breadth and the wider scope of the subject just appeals to a different type of student. Haileybury is great in that we're able to offer both, and our pupils that are here, we're able to support them through the GCSEs and just guide them in the right direction. Yeah, I completely understand it. It's a difficult choice to make. I would just urge you to really consider lots of schools, visiting them in person, get the right feel, get the right place first, and then to look at your own study, look at what you enjoy, look at whether you're happy to make a big decision, you know, in honing down your subjects so soon. If it's not right for you, perhaps you want to be looking at IB. So I hope that's helpful.
I think it is. Okay, Charlotte, just one more question for you, which is, when do I know my kid is ready for boarding school? You know, we're a very protective set of parents in India, and we feel very scared of sending our kids far away. So,
well, and that's completely understandable. And I think all of us in all our schools, we wouldn't be doing this job if we didn't understand and respect that. And we appreciate that parents are making the most important decision to send their children to us, and we never ever take that decision lightly. And I know we all have excellent pastoral care systems, and that really is at the focus what we do. It's the thing that underpins everything, because if the children aren't happy in their environment, then nothing works. So I think what I would say is a lot of time and attention and care is spent in making sure that transition works, that there's lots of communication with the parents, there's lots of communication prior to entry, and I'm sure all the schools do this in connecting girls, boys and families together before entry, so that transition is as smooth as possible. And what we would do is we would make sure that we put Indian families in touch with other Indian families prior to entry, so that they can meet those families and ask them questions and have their worries sort of, that they can be reassured by people who've already been through the process. So it's understandable to feel nervous, but what I would say is be encouraged that we've all been doing this for many, many years, and we put pastoral care at the front of what we do. And I know I can see the others nodding, and I know that everybody feels the same, because we don't get the academic success or the sporting success or anything else unless the children are feeling well supported and well looked after. And I think nowadays it's so much easier, because communication is easier, because we can have conversations like this face to face wherever you are in the world. Because if your children come, you will be able to talk to them on a daily basis. You'll be able to FaceTime them. You'll be able to see what they're up to. You'll be able to see their friends. So there will be a lot of connection. Although there's a big distance between you, there will be a lot of daily connection in terms of understanding what they're doing and what they're up to.
Absolutely. Thank you. Giles, is a very specific question, and please jump in, Rachel or Charlotte, if there's anything different. Are there any scholarships for international students at any of your schools?
Well, I would say yes, in that if you were applying for a Year 9 place, there will be music scholarships, drama scholarships. There are also, all-rounder scholarships. There are all sorts of scholarships, sports scholarships. The problem is for some of the overseas candidates is actually getting here, because it is difficult to assess people if they're coming from a long way away. And obviously with COVID, it's been difficult for people to travel around the world to get here, which means that we have become slightly better at being more active in terms of allowing people to apply from online, and we did award a sports scholarship to somebody this year from Malawi, whose times were suggested that he was good, and we could verify them. So but I think that his scholarship meant that he has to kind of prove himself in his first year, or he could lose it. So that was one of the conditions. Academically, it's difficult, because most of our children come through common entrance British prep schools, and they work through that, and they work towards the scholarship, which is, I suspect each school has their own sort of scholarship, and so it does make it difficult if you haven't been prepared for that process. So that's why there are not many academics scholarships given to overseas students at Shrewsbury. But I would have thought music is probably the easiest overseas scholarship to get. But I think, we are, when I was a housemaster, and I'm sure my colleagues here will probably agree, you can say no, and then someone will say, yeah, but if you said to me, well, yes, but he has been playing under 13 cricket for India, I think there would probably we'd probably manage to find some form of award to stop him going anywhere else. So,
I have to say, when I went to visit Shrewsbury, the only thing Giles told me is any cricket player has to be sent to me, and you cannot send him anywhere else. So that was his mandate to me, that you will not send a cricket player to any other school but to me. So yeah, we're back to cricket, Giles. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I'll stop talking about cricket actually, but I'm looking forward to, I'm coaching the under 15 girls team this afternoon. So we're going to.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Okay, so just another question, which worries a lot of the Indian parents, because you do have exeads, and other than that, you have, on the weekends. Can each of you just tell me what is a typical weekend like? I mean, maybe you can start, Rachel. Just tell me what is and how many students are in on the weekends?
Sure. So at Haileybury, we tend to have between 250 and 300 pupils who are here at the weekends. We have Saturday school, so everyone is here on a Saturday. We have classes in the morning and then sports fixtures in the afternoon. If a child has family nearby, they do tend to go home after sport on a Saturday afternoon from about 4:30. So it's Saturday night really, and Sunday where we would have fewer pupils on site. And we purposefully make sure each weekend there's so many opportunities and activities, but it has to be a balance. There will be pupils who will just want to rest, and they might want to study, and there's the possibility to do that, just to use our sports facilities as well, to go swimming if they want to. But should they want to go into London, should they want to go to the supermarket to buy more tuck, they can do that. We've got trips that go to Cambridge or to the cinema. So it can be, it's whatever you want it to be really. So it can be activity filled, or it can be quite relaxing. And I've been touring the houses quite recently, and the areas that are created just for relaxation are great. So there's areas that are very much for study and focus, but for a chill out, relaxing Sunday morning, Sunday evening, there's areas for that too.
Lovely, thank you. Is it any different for any of you?
Yeah, I think.
Sorry, go.
So go on, Charlotte.
Charlotte, you can go.
I was just going to say that all sounds very similar, except that I guess we have probably a much larger number of girls in at the weekends, because almost 50% of our girls get on a plane to get to Cheltenham. So we have got a lot of girls from overseas, but and we do have the flexibility for girls to go home on a Saturday night if they want to. But in fact, even the girls that live nearby opt to stay because they like being with their friends. There are things going on, as Rachel said, there's lots going on, but there's also the opportunity just for them to sit back, to watch a movie together, to enjoy being together. So certainly, our school population doesn't diminish very significantly at all.
Yeah. And Giles, what about you?
Well, we are a full boarding school, so that means that everybody is here on the weekend.
Everyone.
Okay, so except for the day pupils. So, and that's slightly different. In the girls' houses, we do have girls day girls in the sort of day girl, sorry, in the house. We don't have a special day girl house, if you like. So the girls' houses will lose 4 or 5 kids from each year, probably over a weekend, but everybody else will be here, and all the boys will be here, all the boarding boys, and each house will have its own activity. So for instance, I'm a tutor in one of the girls' houses, and on Saturday night they might have a social. For instance, a year group might have a social with one of the boys' houses, or they might just be doing something relaxed, like baking or watching a film or whatever it might be. The next day they will have chapel, and then after chapel there's big brunch for everybody, and in the afternoon again most houses will lay on something. Sometimes the houses will combine. So one of the girls was showing me her paintballing bruises from last weekend on her arm. It was terrible, but they enjoyed it. They seem to enjoy it. This weekend they're going to freshwater swim. I know, they're crazy. So it's active, but again, as actually Rachel said, balance is important. So that it's important that sometimes they get a bit of downtime as well, and can just chill with their mates or go into town and replenish their food supplies.
Lovely. Thank you so very much. I think we've just run out of time, but it's been fabulous. We've got a really good feel about the schools, and to all the participants, this is how you can contact us. This video recording is going to be on YouTube. It's already there. Any more questions, just reach out, and we'd love to put you in touch with these schools and all the others. We do work with other schools, Charterhouse, Sevenoaks, Tunbridge, a whole bunch of them. I won't go down the list. So if you, please do feel free to reach out to us. And thank you so much, all 3 of you and all the participants, for taking this time out today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Artie.
Thank you.